award.
How did this come about? Well, we were approached by the Maxwell Hanrahan Foundation. They were looking to fund organizations that had existing awards programs, and we have the Lifetime Achievement Award. And we thought that this was maybe an opportunity to broaden the awards that we have and not having some of the limitations with the Lifetime Achievement Award. So this is a much more open call. And Seth and Kay, do you want to add more to?
Yeah, so Maxwell Hanrahan themselves are really interested in funding practitioners. And that aligned really well with SNAG and our mission and our values. So we applied for that funding. We wrote a grant that sort of outlined this impact award program. And we were really fortunate to receive funding that will support the program for 3 years. There's a question in the chat that says, who will be jurying submissions?
Do you want to answer? Seth, do you want to answer?
I mean, well, first, Brianne, should we be saying that?
I'm not, yeah, that's why I asked you.
I think that normally that information is released when the award is announced, so I don't think it's appropriate to say who's jurying it before that actually happens.
Yeah, and typically, like our exhibition calls, we will announce who the jurors are. So I think it's intentionally.
I have a question. So what's the criteria for the application?
Oh, thank you for reminding us that you want to know what the actual, all of the questions on the call are?
I mean, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So what's the criteria? Like, what you guys they're looking for from those applications?
So I can even put this in the chat. I'll put the link to the awards on the website. And there is a section on there that specifically lists the criteria. I think, oops, my apologies, that didn't copy it. But the other thing, I know that this came up for another call, we will put a PDF so people can see the entire application. So I will mute myself and type an email right now and do that part of it. And that didn't paste, well, it's kind of okay. So I think if you have specific questions about those, we're here to answer them for you.
Hi. Hi.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Do you want to go first?
So it might be the wrong question. I look at the criteria. Are you guys looking for emerging artists or established artists? Or is it just open to everyone?
Open to everyone.
Hi. Thanks for doing this. It's really helpful. One of the things I noted was that it can be, you can nominate somebody or self-nominate. And being a Canadian UK kind of person with that culture of not showing off, I feel uncomfortable nominating myself. However, all my teachers were American, or nearly all of them, and I know that probably the answer is going to be it's okay, but I'd just like to get reassurance that the optics of that are not bad.
We encourage you to self-nominate.
Good. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and one of the things actually that we talked about when we were meeting earlier and kind of answering, again, this is the first time that we're doing this, was when we provide the information to the jurors for the jury process, we're not going to include who made those nominations so that it's a very much more even playing field in that way, that there's no bias or anything.
Okay, so if you nominate yourself, write it in the third person.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's easier to do that anyway, because it's almost like you're writing about somebody else. Even it's like a brain trick I sometimes do for my writing. Pretend it's someone else's work and then. Okay, thank you. That's really helpful.
Yeah, that's exactly why we had that. Again, we tried to keep this as open as possible. Within, obviously, there are some criteria and parameters and things, but in a lot of these areas, we wanted to keep it open in that way.
Oh, I have one more question. So I'm looking at the informations, and it said the applicant must reside in North America, right? But does it mean that it doesn't matter their like status, like international artist who lives in America, or is it like must be U.S. citizen?
No, I think because we're actually, I don't. Does somebody else have an answer?
Yeah, I mean, I think that as long as you reside in North America, you qualify.
I would agree. Yeah. And there's no, just to added clarification, the best of my knowledge, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, there is no questions or backup checking or anything about someone's status. So that would have no bearing on your ability to put that application in. All we ask for is that address.
Along, sort of tagging on to that answer, is that I'm guessing that's because part of the prize is to attend the conference, and you want you don't want to be bringing people from across the world. So this is another where I feel awkward asking this question, but I would like to attend the conference regardless. And so I'm going to pay for the conference. If a person pays and then wins the prize, do we get a refund?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And I think also part of North America is, Society of North American Goldsmiths. So we felt that aligned. There's also a financial, right? There's a stipend as well as an honorarium with this. So it's, that would be paid by check, which I know from our symposiums, it's a different process for international payments in that way too.
Yeah, I like, just to give you feedback, it's really nice to have an opportunity to attend the conference and get it paid for, because it's so, even though you've made some great changes, like with the accommodation and everything is really good, it's still so expensive for so many people. So an opportunity like this is just like golden. So thank you. Thanks for that as well.
Yeah, and we are really having this foundation. I hope they hear I have wonderful things to say about them. I mean, they were really great, and they really valued all of these types of ways to help artists, and in the ways that we wanted to divide how we would spend the money, like how we built out that financial request. They're really supportive.
I have a question. How long is the lecture? Isn't that giving a lecture at the SNAG conference part of it?
It's not, it's what are we doing? It's kind of like a 5-minute pre-recorded video.
Oh.
So it's part of, we'll have the Lifetime Achievement. So the Lifetime Achievement Award it's different, and there's not there's not an honorarium with that. We're thankful that we have a travel stipend for that, and there's an award, but so part of that award is really giving that presentation. And so this will be like a smaller part of that conference program. And then following that, we will have a reception where everybody will be celebrated. And then that will lead into the Adorn Spaces closing reception. So it's a back-to-back parties at the SNAG conference. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay.
Other questions? If you're just joining us, this is very casual. You can ask your questions in the chat, or you can come on video or just audio if you want to ask a question. And it's okay if you think your question might have been asked already and you weren't here, you can still ask it.
And for those who weren't here before and don't have the history of the chat, I just put the link for the website in there.
Harry, you're muted.
Once you submit your work at I already did my application, but I just thought I'd listen in. But once your application is submitted, it doesn't look like you can edit it again.
No.
Okay.
And I don't know, are we accepting edits? No.
Okay.
You can have somebody else nominate you and they can put in all your edits.
Okay. So doing the application was a lot of work. I don't think I'll ask anybody else to do it for me.
We really tried, we simplified it. We simplified the process for the Lifetime Achievement Award, or we will next year if we didn't. We really tried to make this as accessible as possible while still gathering the information that we felt would be comprehensive enough for the selection committee to be able to properly evaluate the nominations. And we will add a PDF of what's required for the application on the call page.
This isn't exactly related. Well, are you going to have pre-conference workshops?
No. But did you see we have a Tijuana gallery crawl on Sunday if you stay the extra day? And there's a couple different options for that, and they're on the conference website. That should be fun.
Speaking of that, the gallery crawl, can you explain? I know this meeting is not for the SNAG conference, but can you explain a little bit more about the gallery crawl?
The Tijuana gallery call, yeah, I'll put a link in the chat. We partnered with Baja Art Scene, and they have organized tours. So there's a VIP tour where they take you on like a gourmet lunch and a small bus with different cultural sites. And then there's a bus, I think it's like $25. We have to fill up the whole bus. And that will take you around too. And then they're also going to provide a map if you wanted to take a self-guided tour of the different locations. So we'll have those 3 different options.
Thank you.
We probably should have a conference info session too. We can just have the conference info session now, and then we'll just cut the video and we'll have kill two birds in one stone. That's not a good. Let's see. Here is the. And so we listed the packages on those. Like I said, we don't have the map just yet, but then there's a button at the top where you would register. I don't know if we have any other, there's no other questions. We can hang out for another 5 or 10 minutes, but.
I don't know. I mean, I would love to hear your sort of off the cuff thoughts about what you're looking for. That's, yeah, I mean, I've read all the criteria a million times, but if there's anything like that's really, because the sustainability to me seems to be the most important factor because of the foundation that's administering the funds. That's what it's about. So I can see that being like key to what you're looking for.
I don't think there's anything specific. I mean, I think, again, beyond the criteria, that it doesn't, you know, you might have, right, we have an example could include creating a tool or process that may or may not be related to sustainability. We're not expecting of some of those areas like social responsible practice, sustainability, technical information, and creative innovation. You might not check off all of those. And I don't think that the selection committee is necessarily looking for that. It just needs to be a significant impact in at least one of those specific areas is really what they're looking for.
Yeah, and I would just add that your statement where you sort of outline how that impact is made, it's really good for applicants to know that it should be very, very clear, like what area they sort of feel, or what areas they feel they have made an impact, and really sort of outline how that impact has happened through your practice, through your work. So I would say this statement is really important.
Is there like a page limit for that, the descriptions, like a statement?
I will look that up for you. As I said, we will make that visible later, but I will log into the actual form and see if we have.
I know it's 5,000 characters.
Oh, thank you. Perfect.
Because I keep looking at it. Do I get extra points for knowing that?
So I have a question here that was sent to me as a direct. Okay, can I read that question aloud? It was sent as a direct message, so I wanted to respect. Okay, I'm going to read it aloud. So it says, for the 5 work samples, should we provide text explanations accompanying the images? I will, again, I can look at the form and see what, or maybe Louise knows. All right.
I would just say that I wouldn't use it as a place to sort of like extend your statement. I would try to be really concise in your statement. And I don't know if Brianne has looked at the form yet. I don't know if there's actually image descriptions.
Additional website, additional nominee information, provide 3 sources of information, and then that, right, so it's just, oh, I see the work samples, work sample 1, work sample 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There is no we don't actually have any kind of caption on our form. So it's literally, it's just the images, I think. But again, there's those, you can put the additional information. So those 3 sources of information, they're a little bit more open in what they are. It's a PDF, doc, .x, text file, any of those file types. Although it also says videos. I don't know if we could. You can't upload a video. Maybe we need to adjust these.
I will provide my voice of experience, having done the application already. I was kind of stuck about how to upload a video since that didn't seem realistic because the file limitation, even for the images, was I think 3 megabytes, which isn't big enough for submitting a video. So out of not having any choice, I created a document, like a Word doc, an acceptable document within the parameters. And in that document, I put a video link. I said, here's the link to this. And then I figured they could either cut and paste, or if it wasn't clickable.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. I was just going to recommend the same thing. I think because of that file limitation, it would make sense to just put links and descriptions in a PDF format or a Word doc. I think it was 5,000. And let me double check while I have the form open. I will check that for you.
It's 5,000 characters.
That 5,000 characters includes spaces, everybody.
Yeah. I'll Google 5,000 characters.
That's pretty tight, 5,000 character, including spaces.
It is 35 to 84 sentences, and a sentence is typically 15 to 20 words. And somebody says it takes 10 to 20 hours to write. Oh, no, that's a 5,000 word essay. That's 5,000 words, not characters. 877 words, approximately. So if you just joined us and you have a question, you are welcome to ask it. No, maybe. We'll hang out. We'll say it's 7:30, so 3 more minutes, maybe.
And I would say if you do have a question later on, of course, you can always email me or Brian or